let's talk. Before you make any assumptions, let me assure you that this is not a whinging about the algorithm video. I mean, it is, but not in the way where I'm all sad and upset that I don't get enough views. That's the nature of the beast. No, today I want to talk about YouTube's user experience, specifically how much it sucks and keeps getting worse. Long-time viewers will know that I don't go much in for nostalgia. I think that rose-tinted glasses are a bad way to look at anything critically. But YouTube used to be better, right? It's not just me. I've been using YouTube since I was a kid. I've been uploading videos to YouTube for a shockingly long amount of time now, and I don't just feel like YouTube is getting worse. I can prove it. Let's start with the weirdly smooth, fluffy pink elephant in the room. Over the last few years, YouTube has been shoving more and more shitty AI features into the platform. You get these AI summaries popping up in videos that are, at best, redundant, at worst, wrong, and either way do nothing but clog up the screen. Even if you don't get a summary, there's still that little ask button if you want to ask a chatbot to explain the video to you in case you're a literal baby who doesn't understand the things happening in front of you. You get automatic AI dubbing, which is, according to every bilingual person I know, terrible, as in it sounds weird and fake and doesn't even translate the words properly. But they're even going beyond that now and adding AI lip syncing, which will actually change the mouths of the speakers to match the terrible bad robotic translations that are not actually coming out of them. They introduced automatic AI upscaling to older videos that don't match YouTube's very high standard for quality. And as with all AI upscaling, this makes everything look glossy and weird and bad. And of course, they're rolling out the feature to allow everyone to use their own likeness to generate AI shorts. That's why you're subscribed to me, right? For generated slop with my handsome face on it? But that's not all. For a little peek behind the curtain, YouTube has also been shoving AI down my throat as a person who makes videos. The one I find the most insulting are these automatic AI comment replies. You know, for when one of you lovely people has watched my video, taken the time to leave a thoughtful and interesting reply, and I give so little of a shit about you that I'll let a robot handle the fuss of talking to you. Also, once again, these replies typically contain complete lies and falsehoods, because of course they do. That's what AI does.
It's weird that the only superhero game that seems to have broken through with a dedicated fan base is a turn-based deck builder.
Lies! Complete and utter lies! Don't lie for me, you wee robotic prick! There's also the Inspiration tab, which shows up on the interface left of your actual videos to ensure maximum accidental clickage. What do you have for me today, oh wise Inspiration tab? Oh, they changed the layout, look at that. It used to give you a little readout of how viewers were likely to respond to their shitty ideas, which was very funny when it came back with low viewer interest. Anyway, why modern game difficulty curves often fail player retention? That means nothing. The cinematic canvas, Mass Effect's evolving narrative genius. That was literally my last video. The algorithmic abyss, why your shorts peak at 1.4k views. Hey, I said this wasn't going to be a whining about the algorithm video. Unsung heroes, why Midnight Suns and Battle Chasers deserved better. I made a Midnight Suns video 2 months ago. Beyond the hype, the overlooked masterpieces of forgotten gaming eras. How can they be overhyped and also overlooked and forgotten? The nuanced art of creating truly memorable non-player characters. Don't write them using AI, that's my advice. There's also an AI chatbot you can talk to that'll give you worthless advice, and I saved the email YouTube sent me about this feature because I found their selling points so funny. There's 3 stars. 2 of them are the exact same point reworded, and the third is that it's built into YouTube Studio. Amazing. I don't want to go too deep on AI. I have other videos about that. If you want a specific deep dive on how bad YouTube's AI systems are, then I recommend this video by Pillar of Garbage. Suffice it to say, the AI is here because Google has invested billions of dollars into this mostly crappy system that doesn't work, and they're going to force you to use it until they can make a profit on it. But beyond AI, there's a lot of little annoyances and things YouTube has added and removed over the years which have bit by bit made the platform worse and more annoying to use. For example, I mostly use the subscriptions page on YouTube. This is the page that shows you a list of videos from people you've subscribed to in reverse chronological order, unlike the homepage which just shows you a random algorithmic mix of whatever. Except the other day I noticed this, the most relevant section that shows a seemingly completely random selection of videos from this page out of order from the rest. What makes these videos relevant? I don't know. Why was this needed? Who wanted this? I don't know. YouTube has for years been eroding subscriptions, and especially the subscriptions page, as a useful feature. And this is just another step towards complete uselessness. Even when you've said that you want to watch a specific channel, they still want control over which of those specific channels you actually want to watch. A few months ago, YouTube also changed the UI, so instead of there being a button for this page, like the home page or the shorts page, it looks like the head of sub-tab and not actually a button that takes you to the page. Oh, also that shorts button used to be the trending button, but I digress. The reason I stubbornly keep using the subscriptions page is because it's still better than the home page, which has also been getting progressively worse. YouTube used to show 5 videos in a row at a time. At some point it went down to 4, now it's down to 3, and one of them is usually an ad. The second row, which used to be 5 more videos, is now a row of 5 shorts, on PC. Even on a day where I actually want to watch shorts, why would I want to do it on PC? YouTube's algorithm is also absolutely getting worse, constantly recommending videos I've already watched, videos I'll never watch, and sometimes videos I can't watch. I've had multiple people tell me that this members-only video I made months ago is a mainstay in their recommendations, which doesn't make any sense at all. Your alternative is search, which has also been getting progressively worse over the years. The top result is an unrelated ad. The thumbnails have also been getting bigger on this page, so you have to scroll more to see less videos. And once you scroll about 10 down, you hit the People Also Watched section, which shows you videos related to your search that aren't actually what you searched for. A few more below that, you get the Explore More section, which is completely unrelated to anything you searched and is basically just a feed from the homepage again. Even within the relevant results, they're not that relevant. I searched, for example, Mass Effect 2 critique, and let's just go through the first 20 results, shall we? Number 1, ad. Number 2, relevant. Number 3, a row of shorts. Number 4, relevant. Number 5, relevant. Number 6, another row of shorts. Number 7, relevant. Number 8, a 16-year-old IGN review. Number 9, another review. Number 10, a 14-year-old review. Number 11, relevant. Number 12, relevant. Number 13, relevant. 14, we get to the People Also Watch thing for the next 4 results. So that's 14, 15, 16, 17. 18, a 16-year-old review. 19, relevant. 20, 14-year-old review. So that's 8 out of 20. 40% was a failing grade in my school, and I know there's more than 8 Mass Effect 2 critiques out there, because I just made one. And this is not, woe is me, the algorithm is burying me. No, it's that YouTube is not showing you the things that you're searching for. YouTube search is at this point almost unusably shite. It wasn't always like this. Each of these puff sections has been added slowly over the last decade, ruining YouTube search slowly enough that each individual change is too minor to complain about. On another front, have you noticed that you're seeing more ads than usual this past year? Assuming you haven't installed an ad blocker? Well, I know for a fact that you're not just imagining that. About a year ago, YouTube rolled out a new mid-roll algorithm that's supposed to look for natural pauses in videos to place ads, which was a lie. I manually place my own mid-rolls now because of this change, and I can show you why. Here's my Borderlands 4 critique from a few months ago. This video is about 58 minutes long, and I placed 3 ad breaks in it at the chapter breaks. Here's what happens when I click the Auto Mid-rolls button. So that ups it from 3 to 20, which is a pretty significant difference. You can maybe see why I don't let it do them automatically anymore, which, by the way, is turned on by default and you have to turn it off every time you upload a new video. I've also been doing this long enough that I remember when YouTube gave us direct control over exactly what kind of ads we wanted on our videos. If you didn't want pop-up ads or banner ads, you could turn them off. You could control exactly if you wanted mid-roll, post-roll, or pre-roll ads, all independently from each other. But they simplified this in 2023 to a one-size-fits-all on-off switch. YouTube is infamous for this, dropping a change on creators with no consultation or warning. They have the power to do that, and we don't have the power to stop them, so we just adapt. And that's how it always goes. Small changes, little annoyances that are too minor to linger on, so we just adapt. But take a step back and think to yourself how many of these little annoyances you've had to adapt to over the past 5 years. Loss of community captioning, loss of the dislike ratio, the pivot from channel names to Twitter-style handles for some reason. Shorts. Just shorts. Their increasing war on ad blockers, and couple that, ads now when you pause the video. Automatically activated restricted mode based on how old an AI thinks you are. The YouTube mobile app is a broken pile of crap. For the past several years I've had this glitch where I can't open comments to look at the replies until I refresh the page. And I've had that for years, and I've just had to deal with that for years. And all the stuff I already mentioned. YouTube is getting worse. It's not just you. There is a word for this, because as I'm sure you've noticed by now, this phenomenon is not exclusive to YouTube. Almost every online platform has been getting progressively worse for the last decade. Facebook, the artist formerly known as Twitter, Amazon, even Google itself, they're all shit now. The word is enshittification, coined by author and digital rights activist Cory Doctorow. Enshittification is this process of deliberate decay of an online platform over time. It has expanded beyond usage for online platforms, but that's the origin of the word and that's how I'm going to be using it. In his recent book of the same name, Cory lays out the 4-step process of enshittification, and I think it's worth going through those steps with YouTube to show you how it works and why it happens. Step 1. Good to users. When it stepped into the scene in 2005, YouTube was an absolute phenomenon. A completely free video hosting platform with a crazy generous amount of storage space. In the early days, those videos were limited to 15 minutes, but people did absurdly creative things within those limitations. I think it can be hard for someone like me who grew up with YouTube to understand how revolutionary YouTube was to the entire world. YouTube created an entirely new class of celebrity. The influencers, the kids in their bedrooms with an audience of millions. These immensely talented and creative people who now had this entirely new art form to create and evolve in. YouTube was easy to use and easy to spend hours on. Over the next decade, it shifted from a mere video repository to the dominant online video hosting platform, with its ability to create these new celebrities and build a community around them. YouTube used to be joyous. It feels like ancient history now, but there was a time when people were genuinely excited about the internet and thought it was wonderful and magical. Yeah, there's always been dodgy links and horrible racists, but generally the feeling was,
I'm gonna do an internet! Well, I'm gonna do a book! Oh.
YouTube very quickly became an irreplaceable part of people's lives, offering infinite free entertainment for some, and a new and unique creative outlet for others. YouTube was good. Step 2. Good to suppliers. In 2007, YouTube introduced the YouTube Partner Program. This allowed creators with a large enough following to monetize their work and start making money off of the ad revenue. This changed all of the platform's big creators from hobbyists into professional artists, allowing them to make a living off of YouTube. There was, and still is, other video hosting platforms, but this monetization strategy made YouTube by far the most enticing for potential video creators. Video platforms thrive on the back of their creators. Viewers are only on YouTube because creators are publishing things that they want to watch. Creators are publishing things to YouTube because YouTube offers them by far the best opportunity to turn that into a career. There's a lot of rags to riches stories amongst early YouTube stars. Some of them are still successful on the platform to this day, and others rode that success into a successful show business career or other creative outlets. This was an extremely enticing prospect because success on YouTube didn't require industry connections or operating your whole life and moving to Hollywood. In fact, one of the selling points of YouTube was its authenticity and lack of Hollywood production values. YouTube also offered by a huge margin by far the biggest potential audience for online video creators, to the point where publishing your videos on other platforms seemed like a waste of time. This created the era of the YouTuber, an entire generation of online creators whose careers are deeply embedded in the YouTube platform. At the same time, YouTube offered a tremendous opportunity for advertisers because it had such a large amount of potential customers. And the ability to tailor your advertisements extremely specifically to people who would be most likely to respond to them, thanks to YouTube's extensive recommendation algorithms. With the highest population of users, creators, and advertisers, YouTube absolutely dominated the online video market. But for the most part, YouTube was still good. Step 3. Good to shareholders. It's estimated that YouTube has around 2.7 billion daily users. That's about a quarter of the planet. By the mid-2010s, YouTube had become synonymous with online video and held a complete monopoly over the market. So then comes the squeeze. In 2015, YouTube unveiled YouTube Red, later renamed YouTube Premium, a subscription plan which removes ads from the platform and provides various other quality of life features like being able to play the video on phones with the app closed or downloading videos. Premium offers YouTube a direct income source that is not tied to any other external companies like ad revenue, and therefore offers by far the greatest monetary interest for their shareholders. Around this time is also when YouTube was trying to invest a lot in TV shows and original programs specifically for YouTube Red to try and bite into some of that Netflix market share at the expense of what gave the platform its identity in the first place. The original programs faded away, but YouTube Premium has remained. Over the past decade, Premium's cost has gone up every other year to the point where it's now about 62% more expensive than it was at launch. At the same time, YouTube has been increasing the volume of ads that free users are subjected to, as well as paywalling useful features that used to be free now behind Premium. YouTube has also been tinkering with its recommendation algorithm to focus on watch time and viewer retention above everything else. Because of course, the longer viewers retain, the more ads they have to watch, and the more likely they are to subscribe to YouTube Premium. And this of course all leads us into step 4, a giant pile of shit. YouTube in 2026 is a bloated mess of redundant feature creep, an endless barrage of advertisements, and recommendation algorithms that incentivize creators to make attention-grabbing, ad-riddled slop. Users, creators, and advertisers are all being screwed in their own unique ways. Users are being forced to put up with an increasingly worse platform, and even if they do subscribe to Premium, that doesn't magically fix all the other problems, like the increasingly worse user experience or the shitty algorithm. Creators are stuck on an endless treadmill that will spit them out and not look back should they ever take a break or burn out or do anything outside of their increasingly narrow niche. Advertisers are now in an adversarial relationship with YouTube because they're being used to incentivize people to sign up for YouTube Premium, a service which exists to get rid of them. And as hostility towards ads increases and ad blocker usage goes up, advertisers are seeing less and less return for their investment in YouTube advertising. Why this has happened is not a huge mystery, and shitification is the inevitable endpoint of unregulated monopolies. YouTube owns a captive market for online video, and they know that. They can keep turning up the money dial and keep cutting corners because they know that there's nowhere else you can go. YouTube killed all of its competitors a long time ago. The capital required to create a YouTube replacement would be astronomical, and convincing people to actually use it would be even harder. Any creator who decides to move to another platform does so with the immense risk that their audience will not follow them. And if they decide to only go halfway and keep publishing to both, then whatever platform they're trying to move to is doomed to failure. Do you remember Blip or VidMe? Of course not, they're incredibly dead because of exactly this. There's this idea amongst capitalist true believers that monopolies are good, actually. If a company achieves total market control, it's obviously because they have the best product and therefore deserve to be there. You'd think by now these folks would have realised that that's fucking stupid, but some folks are just stupid, especially capitalist bootlickers. YouTube has no incentive to be good. They have no incentive to include features that work, to fix their broken app, to make YouTube a pleasant website to be on. You're here forever, so get back to your algorithmic slop trough, piggy. Creators have no other platforms to go to, no viable ones anyway. Users have no other platform that offers the same kind of entertainment that YouTube does. And people have developed a connection to their favourite YouTubers and don't want to just leave them behind. We're all stuck in this building, even as the paint chips off the walls and all the posters turn into weirdly sexually charged adverts for phone games. This is the trap of these mega platforms. Even when you know their shit, it's still incredibly hard to leave. Take Facebook, for example. Facebook is, in my opinion, the absolute epitome of enchetification. Facebook sucks. My homepage is nothing but AI slop, ragebait nonsense. Nothing from the people I actually follow, and nothing from real news outlets because Facebook is mad at the Canadian government. I finally deleted the Facebook app off my phone a few months ago, but I still have a Facebook account for a couple of reasons. I have a decade of family photos on there, and my family group chat is still based on Facebook Messenger. A lot of people are stuck on Facebook for bigger reasons than that. Support groups or neighbourhood communities that meet and organise via Facebook. Important social nets that people would lose if they tried to jump ship. You'd have to convince all of those people to jump with you, but then they also have their own nets that they have to convince as well, and so on and so forth. We trap each other on these platforms with our own social strands. So, what do? Here's the reality. These big tech companies are fighting dirty. They're playing with a stacked deck. So if we want to fight back, we also need to fight dirty. I mean, step one, don't give YouTube your money. Not just for activist reasons, but because they don't deserve your money. If they're going to keep making the platform worse even for premium users, then premium is not a good deal, it's a con. And without giving you the obvious but forbidden follow-up advice, here's two completely unrelated pieces of information. Number one, you are not legally required to watch ads. We do not live in the Black Mirror world yet. If YouTube or any other company wants to force you to watch them, then they have to implement the tools to do that themselves. You have the legal authority to install whatever crazy browser extensions you want on your own PC. Browser plugins are your friend. It's not that hard to write a program that blocks a specific part of a website, and plenty of people have already done so. I recently installed one that returns YouTube to the 5-white grid and removes shorts. You do not owe YouTube your loyalty or respect because they do not respect you. So mod the hell out of it and mold it into a shape that actually works for you. Obviously they don't want us to do that and spend a ton of money trying to prevent people from doing that. Good, let that money burn. I'll bet on a teenage web hacker over Google any day of the week. Number two, if you want to support your favourite creators, by far the best way to do that is on Patreon or other crowdfunding websites. YouTube has a flat 45-55 revenue split. That applies to ad revenue, channel memberships, super chats, whatever. Whenever I make money on YouTube, YouTube takes 45% of that money. Patreon takes 10%. And that's a pretty significant difference. Paying someone directly makes an infinitely bigger difference than forcing yourself to sit through 6,000 ads. A couple dollars on Patreon is worth about 20,000 ad views. I'm sure you can do the cost-time analysis on that one yourself. And if you're choosing between supporting someone with a YouTube membership or a Patreon subscription, just remember that your money is literally worth more on Patreon. And this is not a defense of Patreon. Patreon's rates have been creeping up as well. And whatever you do, don't get a Patreon subscription through the iOS app because Apple also sucks. I'm just trying to lay out the facts for you. YouTube is not your friend and it's not my friend either. And yeah, I still have ads on. I'm not in a position where I can turn down money, but just read between the lines, okay? It does not benefit me, a YouTuber, for YouTube to keep being shit. The other way to fight back is with activism. And listen, I'm not an activist organiser. I'm a game critic, but it's important to understand that shitification is not inevitable. It's been allowed to happen thanks to decades of lobbying and the erosion of consumer protections. Law has enabled these companies to keep us as a captive market. Things like DRM and anti-circumvention laws, and various other laws that mean that we can defend ourselves against these policies. But we do actually live in a society. And laws reflect the will of that society, provided you still live in a democratic state. Law is fluid. It can change if enough people actively demand that it's changed via some kind of activism. And this is something that I need to work on. Activism can be kind of scary and feel like an uphill battle, and it's something that I've been historically quite bad at following up on. But change only happens when people try, so I'll at least include a link to the Electronic Frontier Foundation to get you started. Although you're better off finding out whatever your local equivalent is. I bring up apathy a lot, I think because it's something that I really struggle with. The feeling that there's nothing you can do and therefore no point in doing anything. We need to fight that impulse. Life doesn't have to be shit, and the first step to changing that is believing that change is possible. Last year, I started taking a bag out with me when I go out walking to pick up litter. Here they are. I keep them in my desk. I also got a grabby thing but I realised very quickly that it's easier to just use my hands and wash thoroughly when I get home. For 20 years, I had this selfish philosophy that it's not my responsibility to pick up litter. Whoever dropped it there in the first place should come back and pick it up, or the city council should handle it, or whatever. But last year, for whatever reason, the litter in my local area seemed especially bad. Or maybe I was just more aware of it than usual. And I realised something. Nobody is doing anything about this. Everyone around me is thinking the same thing. It's not my job. So everyone is just dealing with their morning walk being surrounded with trash. It occurred to me that just because it's not my job doesn't mean it doesn't affect me. It offends me every day to see my local park covered in garbage. So I decided to do something about it. And yeah, at first I felt a little bit embarrassed and awkward walking around a public park picking up garbage. But you know what happened? There was less trash on my walk the next day, and the park looked nicer. I've started noticing other people out there doing the same thing, people who I don't know and have never talked to. And one time when I was out, someone slowed down their car, rolled down the window, and yelled "thank you" to me. And I felt proud. I still do. It's not that picking up litter is hard, it's one of the easiest, lowest stakes forms of activism you can do. But so few people actually do it that even one person doing it makes a big difference, at least in a small neighbourhood. What I had to get over was the apathy, the feeling that the park is as it is and there's nothing I can do about it. There's always something you can do. You don't just have to live with the garbage. Thank you for watching, and a very special thank you to my wonderful patrons for your continued support. I know I mentioned it earlier, but Patreon really is the best way to support me if you like my work and want to see me make more of it like these fine people have. I love doing this, and I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can get away with it, and my ability to get away with it is heavily influenced by my financial support in doing so. And of course, like and comment, etc, etc. Here are some other videos that you might like as well. I haven't decided what they are yet, but they're probably pretty good.